Hi, my name is Brock Hamilton and I'll be making the famous Dobosh cake. The Dobosh cake is a 6 to 9 layer cake filled with chocolate custard in each layer and topped with a delicious buttercream and chocolate ganache. To make the Dobosh cake, you will need 4 eggs separated from the egg yolks and egg whites, 3.5 cups of sifted cake flour, 1 tablespoon of baking powder, 3/4 cup of butter room temperature, 2 cups of white sugar, a half teaspoon of salt, 1 cup of milk that's also room temperature, 1 teaspoon of lemon juice, and 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract. The first step to make a Dobosh cake is preheat the oven to 375 and grab 3 9-inch cake pans, make sure they're greased. See the grease? And now we're going to grab the egg whites that I've already separated from the egg yolks and pour them in. And now we're going to beat them until a stiff peak is formed. Stiff peak. So I have set my egg whites aside, and now I'm going to pour my butter, my 2 cups of sugar, and my salt. And I'm going to mix until it is light and fluffy. Oh, it's starting to look light and fluffy. Now I'm going to add 1 egg yolk at a time. One. That's 2. Bam. And bam. Yeah. Alright, stop it. And now I'm going to alternate pouring in the flour mixture and the milk. Alright, now I'm going to add my lemon juice and my vanilla extract. So remember the egg whites? Well, now I'm going to grab some of it. And I'm going to flip it and mix into the batter and flip it and fold it. Next, I divided all my cake batter into the 3 9-inch cake pans. I'm going to put them in the oven for 15 to 20 minutes. While the cake's in the oven, I'm going to tell you a little bit about the Dobosh cake. The Dobosh cake was made in 1933 by baker Bula Ledner. She started a bakery and the Dobosh cake became famous, and it was adapted from the famous Hungarian Dobosh cake. She replaced the buttercream filling with chocolate custard filling and put the buttercream filling as icing with a thin layer of fondant. In 1946, Joe Gambino bought the name, the recipe, and the retail shop, including Bula Ledner's recipe for the Dobosh cake. Once the cakes have come out of the oven and cooled, you're going to cut them into layers. The layers depend on the thickness of the cake, and you are shooting for 2 to 3 layers. Now that I've cut my cake into 8 layers, I'm going to put that aside and start making the custard. So first, you're going to start off by putting a medium saucepan on the stove on medium heat. And you're going to start off by pouring 1.5 cups of sugar, 1/4 cup of flour, and 1/4 cup of cornstarch. Then you're going to add a half teaspoon of salt. And you're going to add 1/8 cup of cocoa powder. Next, you're going to mix this well until it is all combined. And then there is 4 beaten eggs in this bowl. And into it, I'm going to add a half cup of sugar and whisk. And then I'm going to put 4 cups of milk into my mixture. And mix. Stop it. Next, you're going to mix it constantly until it turns into a boil. And when it does, you can just put it to a side and take it away from the heat and turn it off. And then I'm going to add it to my mixture. Then you're going to mix it constantly until it starts to boil. And when it starts to boil, you're going to turn off the heat and gradually pour in the milk mixture to the egg mixture while whisking. And then as you are whisking, you will add the chopped up chocolates until they start to melt. And then you're going to add the butter, and the vanilla extract. We're going to return the custard to the medium saucepan. And constantly stir over medium heat until the mixture has thickened, about 5 minutes. Once the custard has thickened, you're going to transfer it to a separate bowl and let it cool. Now it is time to make the buttercream. I already have 1 cup of softened butter and 3 cups of powdered sugar in here. Now I'm going to add 1 cup of cocoa powder to the mixture. And I'm going to beat it well. As it is mixing, I'm going to add 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract to make smooth frosting. Now we are making the ganache. So we have 2 cups of chocolate chips, which we're going to pour into a mixing bowl. And we have 2 cups of heavy whipping cream, and we're going to heat it up till it's hot but not boiling. And now that it is hot but not boiled, we're going to pour it into the chocolate chips and let it sit for 3 minutes. It has been 3 minutes. I'm going to whisk it together, and while I'm whisking, I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of vanilla extract and wait and stir for about 5 minutes. I have already put my chocolate buttercream in a piping bag and have already made a buttercream barrier around my cake layer. Next, I'm going to grab a spoonful of chocolate custard and pour it on the cake and spread it around. You want to do this step between every single layer until the last layer is on top. I've topped the last layer of cake with the chocolate buttercream, and I'm going to chill the cake for 30 minutes in the refrigerator. Once the cake has come out of the oven, I'm going to frost the entire cake with buttercream, and when I'm done, I'm going to let it chill for another 30 minutes. I just pulled the cake out of the refrigerator, and the last step is to pour the chocolate ganache over the cake and spread it. And done. This is the finished result of the debauch cake. Look at it, it looks beautiful. And now, make sure to put it in the refrigerator until it is ready to cut.